Is there anything you feel like, oh, I could have launched this other book 5 years ago, or I should have taken this opportunity? Is there anything you have?
I think it's not even professionally, but I think there's situations where it's like, I could have and should have been nicer to that person.
Really?
And more empathetic to that person. And usually it's like, it's pretty subtle, but it's like a friend of mine was suffering and I just kind of said, oh, sorry to hear.
Suck it up.
Or it's like, I should have at least called them another time or helped them or open a door for them. And I think that's a regret looking back. A lot of that is because what are you proudest of in life looking back? It's like, at least for me, it's not selling books or making money. It's like, and you mentioned this earlier, am I helping people?
Yes.
Am I actually doing something that's worthwhile in the world? Did I actually use my time on earth to leave it a little bit better than I found it? And I think if you look back and you realize that you could have been more helpful to more people, that's like, I think regret's maybe a wrong word. Cause at the time I didn't mean any harm. I wasn't mean to them, hopefully, but I could have been better. I think that's a big thing. Yeah. But that too, that's a worry where you're like, well, let's learn from that and try to do better.
Yeah. So even if we are going to make more money, how do we get out of this trap of feeling like we have enough, we are enough, we're making enough? Like, how do we get out of that as opposed to just comparing to our peers?
I think there's two answers to this. At the macro, at the big level, the society level, we never will. And that's why it's in same as ever. It's been like this forever and always will. That everything is relative to other people. And look, if we're going to compare ourselves to a family 500 years ago who had 10 kids, 8 of whom died by age 2, whatever it would be, like do we have less suffering today? Of course. No. But still, when we are comparing how well we're doing in our prosperity, it's always relative. I think at the individual level, it is possible for some people, much easier said than done, but possible to recognize the game that's being played. And to ask yourself, like, do you want to use money as a tool to give yourself a better life? Or as a scorecard for other people to measure you by. And most of those people are not even paying attention to you to begin with.
Right.
And that's a big part of it. Like, you wake up every morning running as fast as you can to impress strangers who are not even thinking about you. They're busy thinking about themselves. And so I think once you identify that game, then your social aspirations can decline. Not to zero. Like, everyone wants to look good and be fit in and fit in with their friends. But I think they can decline. And your willingness to show off really diminishes. I heard this great phrase recently, which was a high-end Toyota is a nicer car than an entry-level BMW. Because a high-end Toyota is filled with things that make you happy. Nice seats, a good sound system, like moonroof, whatever it is. The entry-level BMW is just bragging rights.
Right.
Other than that, I think you should go through life wanting the proverbial high-end Toyota. I think that it's not showing off for others, it's making you happy. Rather than just trying to put up your peacock feathers to show off to people.
With all the research you've done for Psychology of Money and now Same as Ever, your life completely changed over the last few years. Financially, socially, opportunity-wise, all these different things. You have more money now than you did 3 years ago, than you probably imagined.
Yeah.
You have more opportunities, you have more access, you have more everything. Has your life gotten better or worse since you've made this much more?
I would say it has not made me happier. It's
Really?
probably made me more content, which you might confuse with happiness, but it's very different. I don't think I'm happier in the sense that I don't wake up smiling more than I used to. But I think I probably have fewer anxious days than I used to. I say fewer because they still exist. So I think it has removed anxiety, but it has not improved happiness. I think that, for most people, is what money will do to them. Everyone's a little bit different, but I think that's actually a pretty common thing.
It will remove what?
It will remove anxiety, and it will reduce the number of bad days that you have, but it's not going to increase the number of great days that you have.
Really?
Or if it does, it's minor, because people will become accustomed to the new house, the new car, whatnot. You're never going to get accustomed to having bad days. Like, the removal of that is always going to be a positive influence in your life.
Right.
But it's different than happiness. Now, chasing contentment is worth chasing. It's a great thing. It's not to say money does nothing for you. Like, it absolutely does. But contentness is not happiness.
Wow.
And so I feel like that's been for me. My wife and I have always been we found a lifestyle that worked for us, and we've gotten the goalpost to stop moving. Because what really matters for us is time with our kids, going for walks, going kayaking. And the social aspiration of we need a bigger house, nicer car. It's it doesn't really appeal to us that much.
Right.
So in that sense, nothing has changed, but that's by design.
What is something that you studied before Psychology of Money came out that you talked about with people who had more money or who were making certain money or who took a risk? And you talk about in this book as well about taking risks and some luck involved, that you had to test the theory when all the success came to you?